Hi everybody, good evening. Oh, I'm hearing myself double here. Hold on. It's because of the chat. Now I'm watching the chat, but there we go. Well, at least I know my video are working. I know I'm live. Hey, how was your weekend, everybody? How is your week's gonna be? Some change in the studio. New background. Good morning, Rolf. Do I pronounce that right, Rolf? Rolf DC? I like to pronounce people's name right. Hey Tom, how's it going? Welcome back. I'm gonna wait a minute or two to let everybody join in, and I got some really cool stuff today to show you guys. Actually, a piece of history. I'm just gonna say that a piece of history that will need to be shown about the wing. Also, we're gonna talk about MIDI, something that I was not thinking about talking really a lot about the wing, because until 2 weeks ago we didn't have MIDI on it. But one of my best video on YouTube so far is one of the MIDI one, where I show how to use the wing or any MIDI controller to control OBS, like I'm doing right now. David, I'm sure I'm not going there. David, hi David, hello from Sweden. I have a question. If you set a DCA group, does the select fader move? I know it's different on every console. Okay, let me get back to you. This will be my second thing I will talk about today. So if you're not in a hurry, stick around, we'll cover this. I'm just gonna wait a minute or two with you guys. Just want to make sure that people can join in. I'm gonna wait till 1:05. Because I know for some of you guys, like in Sweden, and I think Tom is in Germany, Rolf is in Belgium, I think. Could be wrong. I hope so. I hope I get it right. I'm in Canada. In Canada, it's currently 1 o'clock and 3 minutes. I know you guys, it's right around 7-ish. It's the end of the day. This is why I set up a different mood in the room today. Only one light, blue background. Yeah, I spend a couple minutes / hours figuring out LED and soldering LED so that I can have a good background. For those of you who will get the reference, this is my town portal. If anything, I always have a town portal open. I'm caught up in the wire here. Hold on. Okay. It's 3:04, but I don't mind. We'll jump ahead. Today, well, actually last week, somebody sent me a really cool picture of his wing. Watch the detail here. This is one of the few first wing who were ever produced. You can notice actually two major things. Maybe somebody else will point out something else, but we're gonna take a look at the picture. It's like a find the difference game. I'm watching my console and I'm watching the picture, and I need to find the difference. First thing that pop up is the logo. This is the pre-production logo. It looks strangely like the console. This is weird, but I like it. I like it. I wish it could be. Well, I wish it could be an option, but probably not. And other than that, I see that the last knob, on the production unit, it's called utility. On the pre-released one, this is called assign. I really like that. I don't see why, but maybe it was because of the different. It was because of a different mindset with the software. After that, we have library, setup, routing, meter, and I can't see I'm not showing you the full picture here, guys, but it's not like there's nothing. I have nothing left to show. So, what else can we see on the picture itself? Not much. Everything else is pretty much the same. I think they changed the USB. Yeah, the USB has changed a little bit. Sorry, guys. I just finished my lunch and my breakfast, and my breakfast is. Sorry, guys. I'm not gonna start a burp concept like Ola Englund did on his live stream. Not my thing. But yeah, this is a pre-production unit. Maybe if somebody in the chat, because I know at least 2 people who own those console. So if one of them is in the chat and want to give us some information if there is any physical difference on the pre-release console. I think there were only 25 made, but this was a cool thing that I wanted to share. I think I like to know where the stuff that I use come from. So I like the design that they put on the wing for the wing logo, but I think it's good to know that at some point there were another version. And same thing for the knob. The utility knob or the assign knob on the pre-production one, it's cool to know what's there. I think that's enough for that. We're gonna move on to David's question. David's question is about DCA. I want to reread that again. If you set a DCA group, does the select fader move? I know it's different on every console. I get where you come from with that. On a DAW, when you move a DCA, like the DCA is going to move the fader with it. But on a live design console, the concept would not work, because if I'm moving a DCA, I'm looking at my interface right now, sorry. I was about to move over to change my view, but if I'm on a layer, actually you can't really see it, so let's go back to this one. If you are on a layer and you have stuff assigned to a DCA, no, the fader physically is not going to move, because you don't want that in a live environment. You want to have your fader basically to 0 and use the DCA to control them all, but they will not physically move with it. And I think I prefer it this way for live, because if I'm moving a DCA, I don't want to see all my faders going down on a console, especially since I'm going to use them to mix inside the DCA. Let's say my drum. If I'm using a drum DCA, I want to be able to have travel on my fader to mix them. And if I want to lower the overall, I'm just going to pull in the DCA and keep my fader around the 0 dB mark, so I can have a lot of play with only small amount of finger moving. So no, as we speak, it's not an option. Maybe in the future will be an option. I don't know. But for now, you have to. For now, it's not working. Do we have anything else in the chat? Rolf. No, you pronounced my name correct. Thank you. My pleasure, man. I like to pronounce people's name right. Sorry, David. I hope you're not too disappointed. Let me grab my phone here, guys. I prepared some question from some of them from YouTube, one of them from Facebook, and I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go with this one from Facebook. This is from, sorry, I'm gonna call you a kid. This is from a kid called Varky. I know he's in Australia, and I know he can't watch the stream because it's a school day, and right now in Australia, I think he told me it would be like 3 a.m. So on a school day, 3 a.m., I get it that you're not there. It's fine. Go to school. Go learn to be a professional musician, sound engineer if you want to, or get a real job. Okay, this question is in a couple parts. I will start from the top. And he say, when do you know where to use mono jack cable, like for guitar cable and TRS? It's a matter, something that there's two things that you need to understand. If you have a shorter run of cable, it's not really going to matter. If you are using guitar pedal, this is something that will matter because some unit, not everything, but most guitar pedal use on the inside of it a TRS jack, and because I'm gonna get a jack to show you. This is an instrument jack. This is a TS jack. Most guitar pedal will use a TRS jack, and they will use the pin in between the ring and the sleeve to create a loop for the power. So basically, when you plug in a mono jack into a guitar pedal, you will turn it on. You will complete the circuit, so the battery inside of it will touch and it will turn on. If we talk about audio, it doesn't change much as long as you are under 25 feet. Of course, if you have the option to use TRS, use TRS. If your setup is balanced, if all your gear is balanced, use balanced cable. But is it really gonna matter under 25 feet? I would say no. So it's a case per case use. If you are using XLR on one end, and I'm not going to go into the impedance stuff. If you are using an XLR on one end, you are probably better using TRS. If anybody in the chat disagreed or agreed with me, go ahead. I'm willing to expand on the subject a little more and go a case per case basis. But if I go on his case per case basis or his stuff, he wants to run a Roland looper. It's basically like an RC. It's an RC505. It's a looper. I'm gonna guess you want to create some live stuff on the stream. I saw many people do that on Twitch using like looper, create beats with clapping hand, drums, guitar, and they loop stuff. He's using an XR18 or XR12. It is set up, and you need basically help with that. So to go out of your XR, I would suggest you to use TRS if you have the option, in and out. If you only have mono cable, well, you need XLR to mono. That will probably work, because I'm gonna guess you are really close, but in this case it will be better to use TRS if you have the option. For your guitar, use a mono jack, because sometimes it's not gonna work. Actually, if you plug a TRS jack in a guitar with active pickup, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna turn on, because again, the active circuit is using a TRS jack inside of it to come to bridge. No, let me rephrase that. The guitar and the jack inside the guitar will be a TRS, and it will use the ring to bridge to the sleeve to make the contact for the battery. This is why you need to unplug your jack when you have a active instrument. Use that in this case. It's really you will learn. You will learn, my friend, and you won't need to ask yourself every time, should I use a TRS or just a TS cable? You will learn that. Also, he was asking me about, oops, don't close that. Is there a way to have, oh, sorry, this is on MixStation. I'm sorry, I never use MixStation. I would suggest you to use the Behringer app. I don't know why some people use MixStation. Maybe somebody have a different opinion, but I want to use the official app. It's not, I don't see any use of, I don't see why you would use anything else, honestly. And the last thing he wants to know is how to turn down, basically we're talking about gain staging here. Gain staging. I explained it to you on Facebook, but I will try to explain it again. I'm gonna go here in my console view. Right now I have a pink noise going in this setup, but I will use a tone. It's in the routing oscillator. As you can see now, I have a steady signal. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castell is in the house. Hi, Peter. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna use a tone, and to make everybody happy, I will put it at 1K. A 1K tone, the classic. Minus 6 dB. We're gonna put that to minus 18. Minus 18, we're on the limit of the yellow here. This is what we want. When I'm talking about gain staging on your device is when you send out some stuff, and I'm gonna actually send out signal. I'm gonna use, maybe not this one, I'm gonna use bus 10. If you gain stage your stuff right, going out of your console into your looper, I'm using my bus 10 here, but it doesn't really matter. If you are an XR18 and you want to use aux send 1 or bus 1, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's just a number. It's the same thing. So if I'm sending out here on my bus, I'm sending out of the channel. I'm using my channel 12, sending out signal. I'm gonna, sorry guys. I'm gonna send out, I turned it off so it won't go in the mix, but I send out signal. You can see here I'm sending out signal. My signal is going at minus 18. This is basically what I want to send to, in your case, your looper. Send that to your mix. Make sure, well, basically right now what I'm doing is if you were to have instrument live stuff going in your XR, sending it to your aux. In your bus, make sure that you send the same amount, no minus, no addition of level here. And when you send it back, you want to have the same thing going in and out. When I talk about your gain staging inside your looper, turn down the gain maybe until 0, because I believe those looper, when you turn down the gain to 0 amplification, when you don't add any gain, you will have a line level, because the XR output will be line level. Sorry, I hope I don't confuse you. I'm on the edge to even confuse me right there. So make sure that you send out your stuff to around minus 18 dB, and you don't increase the gain anywhere. The only time you will have gain increase is when you loop some stuff and out of your looper coming back into your console, like the setup that you described me. The more you had stuff on your looper, the more gain you will have, because gain of every channel or every take that you did on your looper will add up. So, you know what? Contact me. I will wake up early or catch you up at night. Contact me over Facebook and I will help you out, man. You took time to listen to what I had to say. And I don't know if it's possible for you, but we're gonna have a Facebook call and I will help you out, because I'm feeling it's confusing, especially since I don't have an XR18 and since you're not here with me, so I cannot talk to you and you cannot answer me back. So this is why I'm gonna jump to the next one. This one is from Carlos on my video about using a MIDI controller, something like the Wing, to control OBS, like I'm doing right now. I'm changing my screen with with the console using MIDI. He basically wants to know if he can use any MIDI controller to do what I'm doing here. The answer is pretty much yes, as long as your controller or any kind of controller that you have will be sending out MIDI information. There is a couple type of MIDI information that a controller can send. I'm gonna switch here to this page. I'm gonna take a look at them, or most of them. Just gonna go here over MIDI. The most common MIDI signal that a controller can send is a MIDI CC, toggle or push, a MIDI note, which is just a toggle. It's like if you have a piano keyboard and you pressing on a note. You can also, there's a MIDI note, toggle and push, and program change. Okay, program change, sorry. Program change will be a one action only. Because if I'm gonna go a little bit over MIDI here. You have two states basically in the MIDI world. It's either a momentary note that you send, or note, or MIDI custom control. MIDI CC is for custom control. It's either a momentary thing that you send and the device on the other end just read it. Well, in most cases, the device on the other end just read it. But it's either a one short burst of information that you send or continuous information. Like if you just press once on a note of a keyboard and if you hold it down. If you hold it down on synthesizer, it will give you like a wing, a tone that will loop, kinda. But the state, you have to understand that MIDI information will send out the state of a physical thing that you have on your controller or on a console. Right now, if I'm moving a fader, like I have on the console, if I'm moving a fader, this will be, I know, a continuous control, and if I move it, it will send out information until I stop moving it. If I move it back, it will send out more information. It will be a momentary. If your MIDI controller that you want to use, send out MIDI for real, not OSC, not maybe his own kind of protocol to send out, just to talk with a software. I know you told me you're using a Serato MIDI controller, so if you want to send information from the MIDI controller that is Serato, I hope it's MIDI. If it is, just make sure that you know what kind of information it's sent. You want to know if it's send MIDI CC, MIDI note, and program change. It probably can send all of them. Just make sure that you know which knob that you want to use, what kind of information that knob is sending. Because once you know that, you can tell your machine, like now I'm using Reaper and I decided to use MIDI CC, or is it MIDI CC or push? My MIDI CC is for my music, so that way I'm pressing my knob and I can just turn off the music. Can turn it back. I'll get back to you, David. But on my other, I'm using CC too. I thought I was using Note. Okay, so I'm using CC. But basically, the idea is to know what your controller is sending out as an information. Some controller you can remap, you can reassign what message this function that you press or hold send as an information. On my case here, my first knob, which rolled my intro, this one is sending a MIDI CC push. It's sending it on channel MIDI 1 because MIDI has 16 channel. And the CC number, the continuous control number that I'm using is 0 on this one. I don't want to change too much thing here. Okay, it's 0 on this one. And you have the option to use MIDI CC 1 through 127 on channel 1. If your MIDI controller can change its channel, you can have on a single MIDI cable, or if you are using USB, it doesn't matter to you, but if you are using a MIDI cable, you can have 16 channel inside one MIDI cable using all these features, using all the MIDI CC, the MIDI note, and the program change. You can have those 3 type of signal times 16 sent into one cable. It's getting confused. I'm gonna try to wrap it up to your device. So if you want to change, like I'm doing right now, MIDI over USB out to Reaper, to OBS. Why did I say Reaper? It's been a long time since I've used Reaper. If you want to send any type of command, make sure to know what your pad is sending and register it into OBS as a what we call a listen function, and just assign that knob to your device and it should work. It's really a matter of learning how to read those signal coming out of your looper. But if you have, like me, a looper that you have the option to modify, you can decide when I can basically assign whatever message I want to send with these knobs from here. I could just go in my menu, I set up my, let's say, MIDI CC channel 1, CC 1. I send that, I program on the other end inside OBS. I say, do that operation when you hear message coming from the controller. MIDI CC push, channel 1, CC 1. And the computer will read that. The same thing as if you were to press a key on a keyboard. It's that simple. You know, you're using that kind of message sending information from a knob every day, or actually every hour of your life that you're awake, and you just don't know it. It's just a matter of understanding how pressing a button send a message, know what that message is, and tell on the other end in your computer to do something when your computer get that message. You were also asking me about running Serato and OBS at the same time with one controller. If the knob that you press inside your, if the knob that you press on your controller do not affect anything in your Serato, and you grab those message and you say do something in OBS with those message, you can do it. It's complex operation. It's tricky because you can sometimes double trig something inside both software, because if they are awake and listening to those information, if you press on a button, you send out the information, and everybody who can read it will do the action that it was just asked to do. So there we go. David, do the interface on the Wing work with the new Mac Mini? Wing is audio core compliant. Thank you, Rob, for answering that. So it should work. We've seen posts confirming that. I have not tested myself. I did not test it myself either. I'm looking for maybe a new iPad. A new iPad with those M1 chip. Those M1 chip look good, especially on iPad. I mean, they were really powerful in the computer. I can't wait to see what the new iPad Pro will be. But yeah, I believe, actually, something that I want to know is what your opinion here, guys. Do you think when we will have a powerful enough iPad, like the new iPad Pro that just released, if I set up a dongle, do you think that I can record my 48 track out of the console into an iPad? Because I already have a software that was doing that. It's called Aurea. I bought that many years ago, used it once. But with the new option, I think now you could basically record 64 track on an iPad like this. If you have a DAW on an iPad, is there a Logic version of iPad? Is there a Logic app that run on iPad OS, like other than the Control one? I don't really know. Okay, one more question. What else? Yeah. Okay. I know I have some really professional people with me. I know I have Rob. I know I have Tom. Thank you guys for being here. I want to ask you guys something, because you are professional level people. I want to know, what do you think about a video on gain staging? Should I do that? This is a subject that I feel comfortable talking about, but I don't know if closest app to Logic is GarageBand. Think of it as Logic Lite. Yeah, Logic. I used to call it Garbage Band. Funny joke aside. Yeah, funny joke aside. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Maybe I will look at Garbage Band on iPad. As long as I could record 48 track, if I can set up. I did something stupid. I changed my IO. Okay. So I'm not going to do that again. Don't change your IO when you're live. Sorry. Cans of worm. Yeah, we're talking about gain staging. Yeah, I know it's a big can of worm. But I feel this is the kind of subject that is missing on YouTube right now. I see a lot of people talking about EQ, about compression, but gain staging, like I just talked for our friend in Australia. This is the kind of information that I had to learn myself over the year and understand that gain staging will make my life so much easier. I don't know how to approach the subject to not sound like I try. When I'm doing those videos, I want to try to put people in the right direction, but I don't want to pre-chew all the information for them and just, mama bird feed them. Because people don't learn that way. Lots of ODF mixer using riders too. Sorry, Peter, I'm not catching up here. Let me know what we're talking about here, because I changed subject like 3 times in the last minute. So, sorry. Yeah, about gain staging. I want to know: is this something that should be approached? Like, should I do like a 15-minute video on that and take time to get it right? Not looking like a fool and try to explain every situation of gain staging, because, like I said, this is something that I needed to learn like one step at a time when I was cutting my teeth in like club, doing shows. Understand that if I set up my gain correctly on the console, the mix was already there. I didn't need to do much. So I don't know. I feel like it's something missing and people don't understand that, but I don't know. Let me know Let me know what you guys think. iPad can only multi-track 24 or 32 track as far as I'm aware. Yeah, that's probably going to change with the M1 chip, because it will be a Thunderbolt 4 port on the bottom of it. It's not going to be USB 2 or 3. It will be a full-on Thunderbolt, because the new M1 chip from Mac is the same thing that they put in their Mac Mini. It's exactly the same chip that they put on the new iMac, the Mac Mini, the MacBook Air, and the first generation 12 inches MacBook Pro of the M1. So the iPad will be the smallest, best. If you go for the full upgraded one, it will be the best portable computer that you can have, in a quarter of an inch. It will be stupid powerful, enough. It will be so powerful that even some people think it's a waste of a chip, because no application so far on the iPad can use it. Basically, this thing will be sleeping most of the time. So I don't know. Maybe in the future, having an iPad as a multi-rack, as a Wave multi-rack native plugin. Maybe this is something that can happen in the future. So, should I go over this? I think, yeah. Hold on, let me catch up with the chat first, and we'll see. Many mixers use Vocal Rider for gain staging, Wave Rider, Normalizer, gain match. Okay, yeah, this is not what I'm talking about, Peter. I'm talking about setting up your gain on your console, your input gain, and have the thinking of your mix being gained correctly. Basically, when you do gain staging, if everything is in the right spot, you should never clip your master, and you should have the right amount of dynamic in your mix with the player that you I don't know how to explain it again. Sorry, language barrier here. I'm lacking of word to explaining what I want to say. But basically, when the gauge staging of your mix is right, you don't have to ride fader that much. The musician interact with the level that you set, and your mix should be reflected by that. And if everything just do a handshake, you don't need to ride fader pretty much, or using compression to avoid that, and it will actually help you to achieve the good amount of compression on everything. It's more than just putting the gain at minus 18 dB VU meter and let it go. Gain staging is more complicated than that, but okay, maybe I will do a video about it. I will write it down. This will be the first video that I will write down and do something about. Just so I don't lie, what else did I say we're going to talk about today? Because I'm forgetting things. RTA. Somebody was asking me about the RTA. Just for fun, I'm going to do a quick reminder. RTA, the setting for the RTA that you can see here on top of your EQ. This view will do only on this video. Sorry, I was reading what Tom said. Okay, good. Do it. I will try to explain it, Tom. It will be hard. It will be my hardest video ever, but I'll go through it. Okay, back to RTA. real-time analyzer should be on by default on your wing. If it's not, make sure to look at the setting wheel here next to the clock and make sure, well, you have a couple options there, but make sure it's on. I like to use slow or medium. Fast is going too fast for me. And I like peak over RMS or average. Honestly, peak, because if I'm having, when I'm doing monitor, if I'm on stage and having feedback, I really like to have that peak, and I like to have it like decay really slow, so I just know it's right there. If I was doing something else and just started to feed, not paying attention to the pitch of that frequency, and turn it down. So this is pretty much where you have your RTA. This is where it will happen. That was for, I don't remember who that was for. Bus send for IEM, I saw something that I said that I would talk about. Somebody was asking me how to set up his bus send for in-ear monitor. On the wing, again, I always say it's pretty easy. It's because I know my way around the console that it's pretty easy. But we're going to use my bus 10 here. My bus 10, this is where we send out our tone, and I'm going to use that as an example. So I set up my bus 10. Right now I'm going to just call it bus 10, but I would normally use the IAM number mix or the name of the person that I will use, that will use that bus for his mix, and everything else will happen in the routing menu. If you are using a stage box like you said you would, go into, here, output on the right, select your device. So if you are using stage box in your AES50 line A, set it there. We're gonna use, just for fun, 9 and 10. On the second menu here, we will set up, not main, bus, and we're gonna assign, we're gonna unlock our patch and assign 9 and 10. A single bus, this is where people get confused. A single bus will be 2 physical output if you are using stereo. Output 9 and 10 will be, in this case, my bus 10 left and right. Multiply that by the amount of bus that you have. On the X32, if you are using your 16 buses, well, on the X32, wow, what am I talking about? On the wing. We're on the wing, we're not on the X32. On the wing, if you're using your 16 bus, you will have 32 output, or you will need 32 output. It could be a combination of your output on a stage box and output on your physical console. The 16 output that you have in the back, keep in mind that you have to use something for your main out. But if you really want to have, like if you were to do only monitor, only in-ear monitor with that, you can use 16 output of your stage box, the 16 output of your wing, and you will have a total of 32 output. 32 output will be 16 buses in stereo. And I hope I answered your question, my friend. Again, I'm sorry I don't remember who asked me about that, but hold on, I got it here. I like to call out people. This one is from Francisco Tiquiram. Sorry, man. So I answered your question. I know I gave you a quick reply on YouTube, but take a look at this video. Hope you liked it. Sorry, a lot of things happened in the chat. I have to go to my hockey practice now. Have a nice day. Keep up the good work. Thank you, David, for showing up. Have a nice hockey practice. I'm really happy to say that the ice is gone here in Canada. Actually, let's talk about anything now. This is really funny. I live, I think, in the only country where 2 weeks ago it was plus 25. I had to start the AC in my house because it was 30 inside. 3 days later, we had 15 centimeter of snow, and it was minus 10 degrees. And this week we're back at plus 15 degrees, so normal weather. Well, normal weather for this season, as it should. I'm not going to go over the global warming thing, but let's just say that things are changing really weirdly around here. Okay. We've been going at this for 45 minutes today. I kind of covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Is there any other question in the chat? Anybody else want to talk about something? I think I'm gonna dip my toe here. And do I want to go there? Okay, maybe I can. As of today on Facebook, things are going crazy about the 96K and 192 kilohertz clock for the wing. People are asking when it's coming, and honestly, I don't think it's going to come anytime soon. I know I'm getting roasted on Facebook right now by somebody who seems really knowledgeable about the console, and I think his expertise is in network mostly. Could be wrong, could be mistaking the guy, but I think he already explained me a thing or two about networking in Cat 5 and Cat 6 and Cat 7 about the console. But I'm not afraid to say what my thinking about this. So, iOS 14.5 just released. So, okay, I'm not. Well, this is only for iPad, right? Is it for phone too? I try to keep my phone up to date, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm just gonna close the subjects on the 96 and higher clock frequencies. Honestly, it's not gonna change. It's not gonna impact your mix enough to do anything, seriously. Or you know what? If you okay, I'm gonna go with my overall minding when it comes to sound. What is the weakest link in your signal chain? Is it your console? Is it your microphone? Is it your preamp? Is it your PA? Is it your room? Is it you? Is it the musician on the other end? As long as you always need to work first on the weakest link in your chain. If you have bad microphone, if you have a really bad microphone with a really good singer, the singer will still be good, but you will have a hard time because of the microphone. So change the microphone. By the time you change everything in your chain, if you're telling me that when you bought a wing, this is the weakest link in your chain, good. You pretty much covered everything. That means that your room is perfectly treated acoustically. The PA that you have in there is flat, full range from 20 to 25K. And the thing that stop you, the thing that your roadblock is the console. That means that you don't have any more knobs to turn, or the console just make everything sounds like crap. Tell me when it's the console. Seriously. In my life, it happened to me maybe once or twice, where I could say that maybe the console was the issue. Maybe I was limited by the console. But I was on a big festival. I had a line array of $40 per side. I had 35 people around me, 35,000 people around me, sorry. I had 40 tops. I have $40 per side on delays of Vertec, tuned by APA Tech. The guy run out RTA microphone to the delay and to the PA to make sure that everything was sounding right. Maybe once I was there, I was using an M32 back then, an M32R. Maybe the console was the limit, but it's a weird balance between it could have been the console, it could have been the musician, and if I want to blame somebody, I could always blame my PA tech and say, whatever I'm sending to you is not represented good by the PA. This is where I was. So, like Tom was saying, everything but the desk. No, it could be the desk. But when? When is it really the desk? When you go to a really big recording studio, when do you say that the Neve 5088 that they have right there, or the SSL 4000, when do you say that the mixer is not good? When you see those consoles, you don't even think about that. In all seriousness, people are listening to MP3 with really bad sound quality. Even if you mix a really, don't get me wrong, source matter. But in order, I think it's the musician, the microphone, the mic pre, and then everything else. If you got the musician right, if you got the microphone right, and then you got the right mic pre, you can listen to that into really bad speaker, a really bad PA, and it will be great. So before I say that the console is an issue, well, if you get to the level where every night your console is your issue, it's not your room, it's not your PA, you have the best pen in the world, you have the best microphone. I'm gonna say, like the argument I gave out on Facebook, that the temperature in the room is good and the amount of moisture in the air, the amount of humidity in the air is controlled, so it's not impacting the way that your stuff's sounding. Because yes, this is for those of you live guys, you probably know that, but you do your sound check at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, everything is dry because the sun was out all day, the air around you is really dry, and do your sound check at 3 o'clock, go to lunch, a little bit of rain happened during the afternoon, your band goes on at 9 p.m., 11 p.m., and what you did on your sound check is completely out. Because the temperature change, because it's not 45 Celsius anymore, it's probably more around 20, and the amount of humidity in the air is so much higher. Your IN doesn't travel, basically your whole spectrum of sound doesn't travel the same in the air, because people keep forgetting that. Sound travel in the air like a wave travel in water, but air change, water maybe a little bit less. I don't really know water, I know air, or I've studied more air and physics of sound. But sorry, I'm putting that angle because I want to make that clear. Air and frequency response change because of humidity is a really, really big factor of live stuff changing between your sound check and your show. And the energy of your band. So, back at where we were, when can I really blame the console? I'll leave that up to you. Tell me when the console is the weakest link in the chain. It's not your band. It's not your microphone. It's not your PA. It's the console. Tell me when. And tell me when upgrading the clock will be a game changer. I'm not going to go any further on this one. Herman Bosa, how you doing, sir? Good to see you. It's been a long time. I don't think I saw you last week. It's fun to have you around. What's up with you? Feeling like we're a friend here. Don't know why. If there's not anything else in the chat, and a lot of people are not happy with what I said on Facebook, I'm gonna go answer them. And as a side note, totally side note, nothing to do with what we're doing here. I'm playing guitar and bass in a online band because here in Canada it's kind of on the edge if you can meet people in the rehearsal room or not. It's barely legal, so I don't want to play around with my safety and my health, so I just stay home. So I joined an online band and I need to do a track for those guys. So this afternoon will be pretty busy for me doing that. We did around an hour. The time that I say goodbye 3 times like I usually do, it will be an hour. That will be enough for a live stream today. I want to thank you guys very much for being here. We really appreciate the fact that some people watch this in replay. I know I have some really good replay. Actually, I think most of you guys listen to this in replay. Thank you very much. I know that around 25% of you guys watch the whole thing, and I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. It's been an hour, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Until the next one, please. Oh no, wait. I need to say, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you like that video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with a friend. If I said something that can help anybody, I promise one day I will be good at this and I will give out good information that makes sense. I'm working on that. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you very much, Ralph. Take care of yourself. See you guys. You at home that I didn't mention that was not here in the live. Thank you. Take care of yourself. I see you later. I need to do a knob for this.